There's Louise after sitting all winter. Haven't really had her in many videos yet, but she'll be in lots now. So the first thing I noticed going to get her going for the year, I've got a leak on my compressor here. That's not good. So I'll have to get a gasket for that, I guess. It's always had a few oil leaks up here. I don't know if I'm going to bother fixing those. It only leaks when it's cold and it doesn't drip on the ground, so... anyways, I hear a tiny bit of an air leak. I think that might be my fan. The fan hub has leaked in the past just a little bit, not bad enough to change, and by the looks of it, we're not gonna. I don't see anything else under here that I gotta worry about yet, so I phoned my parts place to try to get some gaskets for this air compressor. The head gasket's blown on it, and I've come up with a $300 rebuild kit. But that sounds really expensive to me, so I found a $50 kit on Amazon that I'm going to try first, so we'll be back when that arrives. Yeah, I noticed this tire off. Let's see if we can get it back on. This is being optimistic. I don't think it's going to work. Oh, it might be enough. We'll see. Nice when you have one of these with the both ends on it, so you can push and pull for these. Huh. Must be open on the bottom here too. See if we can get it higher. We're lucky the inside bead's still attached. Never like being super close to those just in case they blow up. Takes a while. I gotta get a lock-in thing, but for now it's gonna work fine. So we're at 100 pounds now. I think that's what I want, 100 pounds. Now the other one is down in there for the back tire, for the inside wheel. So we can just pop that off and check it just the same. We're still just a hair under 100, so let's just top it up since we're here. And there we go, right at 100. This one's twisted in here. It might be a pain to get to. This thing's 45 miles long. All right, let's just hope it's got air in it. That's fine. The angle's okay. But 90's not where I want it. Nope. Bumper up a hair. Fuel mileage is important when fuel's $2 a liter. Oh, oops. 115, yeah, let's knock that back down. For that, I just popped the thing off. Got to make sure you change your winter air to summer air. Oh, still a little bit too much winter air in there. Got to pull some more out. Close enough. Okay, well, I was checking this tire and the valve got stuck. We're at 100 still, so that's cool. I got the battery charger on this thing. Power was out yesterday until like 9 o'clock last night. A tree fell down, that tree I dealt with yesterday. A tree fell down on our power line farther down the road, and yeah, it was out from like 11 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. Couldn't charge this thing, couldn't work on anything. Pain. It's awesome living up here in tree country. It's always trees to fall. I guess let's see if we can wash this thing. First, find gas for it. Plugged. Yep. That tip's plugged. There we go. Well, it's got oil. Yeah. Probably wouldn't hurt to change it one of these days, but farm oil. Mixture, everything. It just dies, that's okay. Well, there. That would be Louise clean on the outside. What time is it here? If it's early enough, I'll lift the box and wash under there. If not, I gotta make dinner. 6 o'clock, I gotta make dinner. See me walking around in my t-shirt out here. It's just barely above freezing out here. I'm sure you can hear that on camera. I got a leak. I don't know where, but I sure hear it. Oh. Right there. Alright. Nice. Good to know. So there's the gauge. According to this, it's 36 degrees Fahrenheit or 3 degrees Celsius. Okay, let's get this box up. You can hear my compressor going off. Should have enough pressure in it. So to turn this on, we have down here PTO switch. So you push your clutch in all the way, PTO switch in, clutch out. Now, box up, and we have liftoff. Now I have a power line up there and you can hardly see, so I don't like going super high without looking. There we go, I can see now. Lots of room. And it's up. And then we can kick this off and we can turn the truck off. And that'll just stay up where it is. All my loose gravel falling. Oh, look at that. We have snow. Snow and gravel and nice. My floor's not so bad. I'll put a couple of pieces of plywood down again. I have a lot of rocks in this, so the extra protection from plywood is nice. But let's wash under the hood here and wash under the frame rails here anyways, and we're done. see what's going on with that air compressor. So first thing I gotta do is pull these head bolts out of it. I've got the new one here. So this was just off Amazon. So that's what we got. So now before I even open this up, I want to make sure it's the same size. Well, if it's not, it sure is close. It's gotta be the one. That hole lines up, that hole lines up. Oh yeah. I think we're good. Gimme. There we go. Well, that's out of my way. There we go. Well, with those being loose, I bet you that's why it blew. Oh, there's coolant in there. Awesome. Okay, I didn't know there was going to be a coolant involved in this job. Loose here now anyways, isn't it? That's what the head and cylinders look like of an air compressor in these things. Looks like a little engine. And you know what, it kind of is. If you put valves in this, you could make it run, I bet. Let me go get some paper towels and I'll get this cleaned off and change it. I'll figure out what these are too. Maybe we'll change them while we're here because that kit had a bunch of stuff, so. Oh no, I lost a spring. Oh my, I seen it fall too. Damn it. Does my kit come with new springs? Oh, it does. Okay. That's not the end of the world. Well, looks pretty good to me. Nice and clean. That's how to deck a head, right? Okay, I'm thinking if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. So I'll just leave everything in there. All these valves and stuff, I don't know what's underneath those. And again, this compressor works fine. So just the head gasket was leaking. Huh. I don't know what this is. Genuine NYC parts. I got this off Amazon. You know what? Not made in EU gasket. Like, I'm not going to complain at all about this. For 50, it was 50 bucks and the dealer wanted 200. Good enough. And it comes with all the stuff. That's so cool. Here's my new springs, so. That's going to be fun making sure those stay. That's all it is. I just got to get this back on there now. So I'm clumsy, and as I'm crawling in here, I bumped the stupid thing and I lost a spring. There it is. Okay, so we're going to keep these springs in my hand until the very last second. They're safe there. So what do we try for here? Do we just put these in here and hope they stay? That's an option. I'm so clumsy though, I don't trust it. Well, there's that. Now just the head. I only care about those springs right now because I don't have spares. If I line up the holes in the bottom, I'd love to show you, but I can't. If I line up these holes in the bottom, we should be okay. First try. Cool. Well, it should be that simple. Oh, I don't know the torque on these, but we're just gonna go star pattern in them. Start from the center and work your way out. Same thing, we're just gonna torque them gently. Maybe, you know what, I'll grab my inch-pound torque wrench and I'll do this properly. Looked online and they call for 30 Newton meters. which is like 22.5 pound-feet. So we'll get all these torqued. Cool. When you're dealing with these style of torque wrenches, you always got to make sure you back them off so there's no tension on the spring inside, or you'll lose your torque setting on them. Okay, this coolant line. Let's see if I can get just a hair of coolant out of it, because something, there we go, something fell in it. So, okay. I wasn't sure if I was going to have access from the top here with that, but that's cool, I do. I just need enough that it's tight. Tight enough for my liking. Now the air line. So that air line, that's got to be metal, because that's where all the pressure comes. So that's going to be very, very, very hot. Anything but actual steel braid line will melt. You got to be careful when the truck's running not to touch that hose, because that'll burn you. It's all just brass. It doesn't need to be super tight. Let's get my intake back on. I don't want dirt going in there. These can be a battle sometimes. Oh. Okay, and you saw me fight with this on the way off, so what I'm going to do is put the clamp somewhere I can actually get to it. And that way, it's not a fight for me next time. There we go. So I can see the line, and I keep an eye on stuff like that, so I know when things slip. Make sure that line's not showing. Okay, let's test this out, or I guess let's get some coolant in this and test this out while I'm up here. Let's see if my power steering's good. No, I don't see any, but it usually is sitting low. Easier to check it when it's running on this, actually. We got a leaker. Spraying out of here. I'll pull this up later. Okay, so if you remember when this was running before, put my hand up in here and you'd get out of the air compressor. See what happens now. Let's have a look inside. That's my air gauges there, so they're both going up, which means everything's working. They were up to 75, 70, and it's not buzzing, which means we are good on the air alarm for our pre-trip. And my thing just went psh, which is full, so we're good. Obviously everything works. Everything's working as expected. No air leaking out of there, and I've got air in my system again, so that's cool. Next step I'm going to do with this thing, not today, but next step with this thing is going to be getting it roadworthy. Go over it. Any lights out, anything worn out, I'll give it a grease job, and then I got to bring it in for inspection. It passed no problem last year. I guess we'll see what happens this year. Okay, headlights, markers, ribbon lights, everything's on. Not many switches in this thing. Everything just comes on. Okay, first. This side's working, so that side's on not. Not going to work with the wire falling off it. That'll be in there somewhere. Maybe there. Okay, fix that. Maybe weld that. That's been welded before. That would have been too easy. light working. The light. Hey, look at that. Cool. Cool. Now I just need to get a replacement for the back one here. So the rules in Canada here, if that light's missing like it is, I'm legal. I don't like the looks of it, so we're gonna put a light in that. But that's all my lights working now, I think. If everything up on the roof is working, we should be all right. I see 4 out of 5. I wonder if I just gotta smack that one. See? There we go. All right. That's all my lights working. Good. I wonder if my backup lights work. Backup lights are right here. Backup alarm works. And that light works. Cool. Those are actually really handy in the dark. Believe it or not, they're just bright enough. Oh, that's good enough. Let's put her to bed. That's her. Good old Louise. You forgot your lights on, Mike. I'm cleaning this thing out, and I found a mouse house. We get to clean all that up. Oh yeah, look at that in there. Nice. Unpaid tenants need to evict him. These things are awesome. They'll pretty much suck up anything. So I've got an issue with my lights now. I turn the marker light switch on, you can see the volt gauge go down. What you don't see is the marker lights coming on. That one works for sure. None of them are on. But if you give it a minute, watch this gauge. Never mind the buzzing. Okay, yeah, see? The breaker's blowing, which means I have a dead short. That buzzing's just low air. That's got nothing to do with it. So, yeah, you seen the gauge drop down with these marker lights. So I've got a dead short somewhere, and I don't know where. I don't know where. But one of my marker lights is touching ground. I'm skeptical at the back here because I played with this the other day, and I pulled it out more, and I found some wires in here that are exposed. But it's rubbing and touching somewhere, so let's get that figured out. I guess I'll lift. Do I want to lift the box? What do I want to do here? That's nice. I don't know what fell on me, but something fell on me. I wouldn't be surprised if it's right here that the issue is. One of these wires rubbed through it, touching anywhere can be my problem. Clearly someone's been here that wasn't me, because I don't wire stuff like this. But let's flip that switch and see if that's better. Oh, you see that? It's just barely on. And a blue. Check for shorts to ground, I guess. So really I just want to see if either of these, so you can hear it beeping. Both of those have continuity to this random black wire. I really do love it when someone's been here, because I can look inside the hole here. You probably can too. And you can see the mess of wires in there. So that's nice. I'm using the camera on the GoPro to see if I can see any rubbing wires. I can't really, but maybe you can. Yeah, okay, so I want to be checking this black wire because this will be my power, I bet. Wow, that being said, which one is power? Okay, white's grounded to right here, so black is power. Do I just want to put my box up in the air so I can get in here easier? Okay, well, let's turn it on and see. You will be able to see this light up a little bit. Is that on? Only a hair. Why is it only on a little bit? Shaking these wires isn't helping though. That breaker's gonna turn off. Oops. That breaker's gonna turn off and I'm not gonna get my voltage reading. There should be power and ground to this. 3.6 volts and blue. So one thing I've always told people is check your trailer plug wiring. I don't know if this actually has power going to it. We're gonna check, but look at that. You can see the corrosion and grime and stuff in here. And it's wet. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where my power draw is. Okay, let's see if luck is on my side today. Let's clean this out. Look at the green rod in there. See that green peeling out of there? There won't be any continuity now. Cross your fingers for me that the lights turn on. Didn't think so. So there's a trailer sort of plug-in behind here, that one there. I unplugged that from the cab to see what happened, and my short went away, but so did the lights on my box. So I need to figure out where the short is from the box and the wire. Okay, I'll show you how to lift the box in these things. First of all, you got to put the PTO in. So make it idle and push the clutch all the way in. Put the PTO in and let the clutch out. PTO is engaged. So for this one, I have two controls here. I've got my high lift, which is just a cable and a valve, and then I've got my box up. So we're going to put that there and then just slowly let the clutch out, and as it engages you'll see the box go up. You can hear all the gravel falling. There was a bit stuck in here. Oh yeah. Oh, cool. Other than a bit of mud in the corner, that's nice gravel. I'm gonna put that in my yard here. Now, if you see in the box, there's one or two minor holes, so I just put a couple of sheets of plywood down every year, and that usually lasts me the year. I haul a lot of rocks in this truck, so it gets beat up pretty quick, as you can see. Okay, so we're just looking for a broken, rubbed through wire somewhere. Gonna be this wire. There'll be a junction box somewhere. Lots of places for it to rub. Oh, yeah, so here's my junction box that I was just talking about. Someone's been here, so let's find out what they did. I think first I'm gonna pull that cover off. Okay, more unhappiness. Point of these junction boxes is to keep this crap out. Obviously didn't do that good of a job, did it? Being loose doesn't help anything. I bet you that gray wire is the one I want. I couldn't really find a short, so it could be just that simple. It's not that simple. That's how I'm going to turn them on and off, so you can see everything staying on. See my marker lights there, and you can see the roof lights on top. That tells you it's should be working. Okay, it's the same thing. We're just going to listen for any shorts. So what I want to find is something that's shortened to the frame. So again, we're just listening for that beep. It could just be a simple ground issue, to be honest. That's not hooked to anything, so I traced that wire for no reason. Oh, and I'm seeing here that plug that I cleaned up, it's not attached to anything, so it wasn't a concern. You can see it down in there, right there. I sure love working on something that someone's been here. Like, where does this make sense? I wonder if this is our wire. See, we're just looking for this. Well, I'm just looking for this black wire that kind of doesn't belong. I was absolutely right. So somebody somebody thought it would be fun to splice the wire here. So here's my main feed wire, and I'm fine with that. I know what it is now. But it goes into here, splits to there, splits to here. Now remember, my black is my power. So what is this? Wonder if that's signal? Is that supposed to be ground? Okay, so this is my ground. That's so dumb. Well, now I'm debating if it's worth even making this work or if I should just redo somebody's mess here. This is our ground. I can see it. You can see it up in there. Okay, you can see where that goes? So that white wire into the frame goes into this red wire, which it goes to white down below, which again is fine. That'll be my ground, I bet, which means this is power for the signal, which tells me that this is also signal. My signals were working, so I'm not going to worry about that. So my issue is solely with this wire. So much that was done stupid here. But anyways, I know it's going to be with this wire, so, but it also ties in here, and brown goes this way. So, is brown shorted out, rubbing on anything? Every time you touch anything, dirt falls on you. I even washed this thing, apparently not well enough. You can see that wire. It's all the way up there. So anyways, I don't see any spots that this one could be rubbed. Electrical tape everywhere, for no reason. So it could be rubbed up there too, I guess. I remember when I said it could be a ground issue, I got all these pulled out of here. This wire and this wire aren't really connected anymore, are they? Okay, so I've just got it pushed in here for now. Let's test this. So to test it again, we're just going to push this in, and we're going to cross our fingers. Still nothing. So I got a bit of an update. This red wire turned out to be the signal. All of these black wires here are power. I found them just wrapped up in here. And all of this fun is ground. So I don't have a ground going down below. So I gotta find my ground and get it up top here. Because this is just that great big long wire. And yeah, my ground wire. I don't have a ground wire up here. So I don't know. Oh no, we said everything was grounded here. That's right. Okay, never mind. Good. We just need power up here. But this is signal regardless, so that doesn't matter. So I've got all this pulled out here. All this black wire was just rambled up in here. Obviously one piece goes down below for power, but yeah, there's lots of wasted wire and stuff up here, and the ground is grounded to here, so those should in theory be okay. And then that's my signal wire. So down below, this yellow wire, sorry, it's just tangled here. This yellow wire goes up top to that light. This black wire is my conglomerate that goes up top. You can see it pulls back through, so that's just this guy. But the short kind of can't be on this side now, because there's like nothing touching. So let's plug it in and see if our main lights work. No marker lights. Nah, switch didn't reset. It smells warm in here, like it is shorting out. It's this breaker right here. Oh yeah, that's hot. Okay, let's have a look again. Watch the volt gauge. Okay, so it's drawing a lot though. Oh, look at that. Like it blows right away. It's still warm obviously, but okay, I heard it reset. Let's just leave it off for a minute. But you know what we're gonna do? So that goes left to that side, that goes right to this side. Let's figure out which one's giving me grief. Okay, I got the one side cut, so I won't have power up here to this side. The other side should still work though. I've got hardly any light, so there. Okay, so it's blown. So turn it off. Now you can hear it when it resets if you pay close attention. It's reset, so it's blowing like instantly. It's so hot though, you know what, let's just give that 10 minutes. Okay, so when you get tired of messing around, grab yourself one of these. This gives off good power. So I'm just gonna clean up a little spot that I can ground to. That way I know I've got a good solid ground through my body. So now I have power. I can actually click these right on. So that should turn on our lights. Look at that. This one's on. Those are on. Nothing on this side, of course, because it's all disconnected, but let's connect that. Let's connect it back up. Okay, I got both together. Still got my lights on this side. Look at that. That doesn't look dim to you, does it? I don't think so. So I didn't disconnect anything else, just the markers. So if I put the signals on, that's the 4 ways. Okay, good. Okay, so I flicked the marker light switch on. Oh, it still blows. So that still blows with this line, this wire cut right off. So that means that it's got a short somewhere else. So this is the wire going up to the truck. Doesn't matter which one of those because they both go into the same thing. It's shorted out on the frame, on the ground somewhere. It's like shorted right to ground. If I let's see if it's on the inside of the truck, because it could be on the inside of the truck yet, or it could be here. So let's disconnect that. I don't know how that's installed in here. You know what? That could just have simply fallen out in here. It could be just be grounding itself out. Like, the guy obviously didn't do a good job with anything. So I'm just going to check this again for the same thing. If it beeps, then the short gets rubbed through along the frame. I'd prefer that at this point, because then I know what the problem is. Hallelujah. Let's just unplug these two lights just in case. Yes. So it's rubbed through somewhere. Okay, let's just do this the easy way. So that's where the wire gets funky. I don't trust that connection, so let's start there and just pull it back. I'll have to rerun this wire down the frame, but I don't trust it because it's unplugged up here. It's unplugged back here. What did I expect worse? Okay, well, this yellow wire pulled out, so let's fix that. My suspicions were correct then. That's our wire, and he just goes right here. So in theory, that should be shorted to ground on this end too. Oh, come on. Okay, let's inspect this wire. Did I just waste a bunch of time pulling it out for no reason? I thought for sure it would have been rubbed through. So everything seems to be working now. That's been on for a while. This wire doesn't seem to be rubbed through anywhere, so I guess what the culprit was, this yellow wire in here that I fixed, it must have jumped and it was touching the top and wrecked my day. But that's perfectly fine, because you know what, I wanted to rewire this anyways. This is gross. I don't like that at all. Cool, so I just threw that together twist tie like just to test it. And I've got my I've got my marker lights on again. This side obviously still apart, but what I found out, I found my short. So this wire goes down to my marker lights underneath. So that one and that one over there. Look at this. So that's where my dead short is. So that's cool. Find out which light it is, I guess. We'll unplug that one first. And this one's already unplugged. Make sure they're not touching. Does it still spark? What the hell? Okay, so it still sparks and these lights are completely unplugged. That means something is wired very much wrong. So I've got every wire that goes to this wire removed. So it goes down there, it goes up here to this plug, it goes up here to this plug, there's a plug down there. Everything's disconnected. It's still shorted. Somewhere it's touching a ground, but that doesn't even make sense a little bit. Okay, I got all that plugged in. I've got that all wired together. Got power there. Got power to everything under here. That's what I actually found. I pulled this wire out. Oh yeah, look at that. That's where the problem is. All of that messing around for my plate light was shorted out. So let's get this wired back together. So I normally like to use better connectors than this, but that's all I got, so that's alright. That's fine, because we're just going to put shrink tube over these and that'll hold it together and keep all the crap out, so that's fine. Okay, so I need to get these, again, it's just a jumble, so this, one of these comes from down below. Okay, so this goes up top to the light up there. I guess I'm just going to do it as simple as joining these three together. Okay, that end we're just going to keep intact. This one will cut, this one will cut. And what that does is just allow me to simplify how this all looks and goes together for when there's a wiring issue again. Because there will be. I live in Canada. There's salt on the roads, there's magnesium, there's corrosion everywhere. Okay, so we got our shrink tube. I don't know if I like what's under that. It's a little bit exposed. Oh my. Okay, well, I'm not in love with it, but it'll work. Okay, we're gonna want the shrink tube on. So what we're gonna do is put it on these ends, and then I just want to make sure it's really good and in there. And I can crimp it. So that should be, that's still on, so that's good. This wire can go into the abyss. Now this I need to leave out here for this light. And these grounds, they're just ugly. Like, what's funny, I'm not actually gonna leave that there. Okay, well, I'm thinking about this. I've got a wire from down below that doesn't have a home. So I should bring it up here and join it together with these. So that's our ground point. Those are our two lights. And I've got this one more wire down here. Yeah, this one here. This needs to go up top for ground. So, just in the theme of keeping everything super confusing, I can either use this black wire that's mangled, or I can use this yellow wire that's mangled. In the theme of keeping things confusing, we're going to use this yellow wire because it's a little better quality than that black one. But we're going to use black shrink tube so we don't get mixed up on which wire is which. So that's going to go down below. It's an important step, remembering to put that on. And believe it or not, that's the hardest step, remembering to put that on. Always want to make sure you give them a good tug, and give them a decent tug, because you're going to be reefing on them when you're pulling them through. If you just give it a little pansy tug, you never know if your work's actually good. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but it will actually splooge out a little bit of glue. There's glue inside of these ones. All fixed. That's still on. Oh, startled myself, it's warm. But look at that, it works. If I'm not mistaken, the one on top should be working too. Now we want to make sure this is level. There we go. I need to find a rubber and a light for the back, which, you know what, I just did all that and I didn't even wire a plug for it. Oh good, yeah, that's awesome. Look how confusing that is. So I need to do this. Black to yellow, and I need to go yellow to black on the other side. So I don't think it'll light up the other way. So I've got the ground coming from the top, which we use that wire, and I've got the ground from the LED light. Now I don't know if I can hook these up backwards. I don't know if they work, because that would be nice to send the yellow power. You know what, we can check that. Let's spin this one. See if it works both ways. Really? They work both ways? Cool. Okie dokie. LEDs often won't work both ways because they are actually a diode. They're designed not to work both ways. So that tells me if I hook these up correctly, black to black, yellow to yellow, everything makes sense up top too. And you know what, I'm just going to trust myself and do that, because that just makes way more sense to me. And I just proved they work both ways, so I shouldn't need to worry. Really hard with you in the way. Again, this is just unnecessarily long, but it is nice to have a lot of extra for diagnoses, apparently, so. Now, a lot of people give me grief for leaving these long like that because it looks sloppy, but you know what? I'd rather reach my arm in here and not get cut. Okay, so here's our final test. I see my lights lighting up. I don't know if you can see them in there, but you can see them just lighting up barely. See that? Oh yeah. Beauty. So we're just going to wire this all together. And then we're going to have to address that license plate light because I know that's going to give me grief. I'm going to want shrink tube on this. Now if I'm not mistaken, it should just be the 4 wires. Okay, one thing we're going to change. I don't really see the point of going into a junction box with butt connectors, so we're just going to keep it external. Well, that's why you do the tug test. Let's make these better. Okay, that went to nothing, so we're just going to snip that. Oh, whatever. Okay, this red wire keeps pulling out of this guy. Come on, you. It's gonna be tight right to the very last second, isn't it? Look at that, we got all of these lights working. That one up top's working. All of my marker lights. Same on the box, the top one's working, the bottom one's working. And all the back ones are working. Including this guy, which is just sideways because it's got a short. That's working for now, so that's legal. And for anyone wondering, because there's no light mounted here, that's it's actually legal the way it is. So I'm going to get a light and put it in there because I hate the hole, but I am legal, so it will go through inspection. Cool. Okay, next on the list, I've been having an issue for a long time where my headlights will they'll kind of flicker, but if I stomp right around this this floor switch, this is my high beam and low beam. So I'm hoping maybe. Oh my god, really? Oh, look at that. Oh, I would bet that explains why if my headlights were flickering. Let's check that. Headlights on, and that's on. Now before, when I turned them on, they just wouldn't work. Oh, look at that. See if the high beams and low beams go back and forth. Cool. Working with the camera, I can just check the footage and see that my lights are working, so that's sweet. It's high beam, low beam. I don't have an indicator inside the dash, but it might just be burnt out. Okay, all that messing around for the last 3.5 hours. I thought I was going to get a lot more done off my checklist, but I didn't really. Just a couple of things off, and I've still got a lot to get to here, so let's keep going. Okay, my grille's missing a bar here, and I noticed a few are loose, but the bar that's missing, I actually found. Look at that. How lucky is that? How lucky am I? I don't know how they mount. Obviously in behind. Ford part number on it. That's cool. I'm so happy I found that. Okay, so it just needs to be right here. I can't really feel in behind how they're held on, are they? Oh, it is just rivets. I don't have any tiny rivets like that. Cool, so I found a bunch of little screws that I bet would hold this thing on just nicely, so let's see if I can get it mounted. She looks good again. Now, how in the hell did it fall off and not go missing? Unbelievable. Does this hose rubbing bug anyone else? Oh, it bugs me, so I brought some hose over. Let's give it a happy little, let's give it some protection. Doesn't get better than old heater hose for that, does it? We'll just zap strap it in place. These ones all cut off because I'm not going to be reaching in anywhere that's going to nip me. Beauty. Okay, next up is this light bar. Here in Canada, they don't let you have good light, so you got to run these covers on them. I wondered if I was short. Now it's legal. Alright. Some parts from in here, because we can now. So I got all these shelves built, which is so nice, because now when I need parts, I can come in here and grab them. I know I've got an exhaust flex pipe that's a little grumpy, so we'll use what we have in here. And this mirror we're going to need. Okay, there's a little bit of a problem with my mirror. That was really easy. I don't know exactly where it needs to be, but we'll set it there for now, and hopefully I can move it. Okay, it just needs to come out just a hair. Oh yeah, it's not even stuck, we're good. Okay, I think the next I'm going to look at is this tarp here. It folds back so you can keep your gravel and sand intact. Anyways, this bracket broke off, so it was welded on. I guess I'll just weld it back on. First thing I'm seeing is this spring actually, it's got to go up over here in this holder, so it's got tension. So I need to get this folded back. Yeah, see how this side works? It's got the springs and whatnot in place. So that should help this, or should get this to go. Go the other side, maybe. There we go. Okay, so that's what happened to the bracket over here. There is tension on it. Now there isn't. Okay, things are interesting now. How do I torsion this? Could have worked. That's a good way to pinch your fingers. Well, that looks like darn near enough to get the front section to the back section right here. Okay, I'm just going to try to get enough of a tack on here that it stays put. Well, jeepers! There's got to be an easier way. I just can't think of one. Long jack handle, maybe? Oh! Tried to catch that with my foot. I have control. You gotta watch with these things. They've got a nub on the one side, so you can put a thicker disc on. You want to make sure it's going the right way. I don't know what the last guy used to weld this, but those aren't solid welds at all. I'm gonna have to bend this back too, I see, but that's fine. Should just be able to tack this on here now though. Already a better weld than it had on it. I guess I'll lean on it as hard as I can. Oh, that's right, my shoe. Wearing the wrong shoes for welding. Oh yeah, no reason I can't fill that. Cool. So safety equipment's very important when you're welding. I was just wearing the wrong shoes, and you've seen me yelp, so I've gone and got my my welding Crocs. These are much better. So as you see, the top of these is completely sealed over, so any spatter that falls off the welds, it won't get in my shoes and it won't cause me pain. So make sure you wear your safety equipment. Little hot. I really got to get new tips for this thing. Okay, let's see if we can get this out of here. That's still warm, by the way. That's still very warm. Cool, now if we can just get this spring on. Not worried about this. Wow, glad I caught that. That's a spring, guys. That's tough. Now it's got to go over. Beautiful. Not professional, but you've seen how well I cleaned it. It's on there though. That's not going to fall off like it did before. Looks like it works to me. And there, I'm gonna leave that better. Just cleaned up the porosity ones. So what's going on there? This flex pipe is a little bit too flexible on both ends. I'd normally replace that. I've actually got a piece, but it's not long enough. I'm gonna see if I can find another clamp, and I'll put a clamp right there, and he might pass it. So this clamp's a little loose too, and that's like most of my problems. So I'm gonna see if I can tighten this clamp up maybe, because like I don't like the. Really? Oh, not quite. Really nice of that not to be stuck though. I really like to find something to go around this pipe in between the clamp, but if I pull the clamp back, that eliminates all of my exhaust wiggle. So I'm gonna find something to go in between here, I think, and then just tighten this clamp with it moved back. There might be enough clamp to actually hold the pipe tight. Let's try. I'm curious. Yeah, so it doesn't squeeze that pipe, but it does get rid of the plate. Look at that, yeah. That gets rid of all the pipe wiggle. That's nice. So I found this old piece of pipe, so I'm just gonna cut probably that much out of it. Just a little bit of a section for the clamp to hold, so I've got a cradle kind of thing, right? So that's why I hang on to every old piece of everything that I use. So with any luck, this is just gonna cradle that exhaust pipe. So here's my concept. Look at that. Okay, let's get that clamp loosened off. That's what I want. Awesome, look at that. So that cradles it nicely, that clamp's gonna squeeze down. Okay, let's take a look at that. So that clamp's actually grabbed mostly a hold of it now. Little space up here, but that's fine. That's not wiggling. That's not wiggling. I'm gonna say that's fixed. Hey, let's get this air cleaner out. Never done this thing actually. It's probably way overdue. That's tight. Oh, is that why? Okay. Really? Unless it's not a 9/16. It's a half, damn it. Oh, that doesn't fit at all. Really? So that's the issue with the wing nut. So the socket goes on, but I don't really have a lot of room at the end of it. But things have a tip on them. Nice. That's a baff. Big honking air filter. Knock this thing out. Yeah, there's some good stuff in this thing. I should probably buy a new one. Thing's $110 to replace, so I ordered one. We'll just bang this one out a little better and throw it back in. It'll be good for now anyways. It says do not clean on it, but you know what we're gonna do, right? You can almost see daylight through it. I'm holding you up to the sky and, well, we can still see through, so there must be some daylight. We're just going to put this one back in for now and wait for our replacement. Okay, piled up. Thinking this air cover's seen some better days. Let's try to find a washer for that. Okay, I found a washer, so that'll be much... washer's the same size as the hole, whatever. I like it better anyways. Good enough. Okay, the brake on this is way out of adjustment. We got these great big sockets. Might need a charged battery on that. Let's see if we can get this drum off. Oh, cool. Brakes are in good shape. So this is a wedge brake style system. So it's quite a bit different than a lot of dump trucks. So what there is this piston and brake chamber. There's a piston rod in here that pushes these out. So there's an arrow shaped wedge. Obviously a wedge is going to slide in and spread these out. So what I need to do, there's an adjustment wheel up in here. I need to click it over and get these spread apart a little bit. They're supposed to auto adjust, but this side likes to get stuck once in a while, so I have to do this just to make sure everything's in spec. So okay, so if I remember right, last year, yeah, I had enough room to lift that up and just move it over. That looks like it's going down. So these adjusters I've got screwed out a little bit. To check what I want here, on the back side of the brake, in between the brake shoe and the drum, I want about 10/1000ths of an inch, same as everything else that I like. So there's a hole on the bottom and a hole on the top. So we're gonna check that now. We're gonna check that and see what we have. Okay, I think okay, so we got a 20 thou on this one, but that'll be fine. So the hard part's going to be getting the adjustment with the drum loose. So I've got to thread a couple of these nuts on again. There. Now I can measure it, as otherwise the drum set's crooked and it wouldn't give me an accurate reading. See, look at that. Now I can get that in there. But to be honest, I can get that in there. Or I could. Yeah, I can get that in there. It's not easy, but that's what I want. Bottom one slides way in there, so you can actually see the gap. See that? So that's how much my brake's got to move. That's how far out of adjustment that one is. I think that might be a little bit too tight. I gotta make sure that seal doesn't fall out. Well, if you can't see what I'm doing here. There, if you can't see what I'm doing, I'm hitting that star wheel. This right here. I'm pushing this and it's turning, so that's threading in right now because it's just a hair too tight. See if we can get this in here. I can. So we're going to tighten it up and see how tight it actually is. Okay, we got a decent gap on the bottom. Our gap on the top is a little bit tight, so we're gonna go down on this bottom one. I'm gonna take this top one down just a hair too. Top one's a lot better. So is the bottom one, I think. I'm just gonna see if this flat one fits in here now that I see what I'm doing. So the spec's between 25 and 40. I can get the 25 in, but I can't get a 35. I can get the bottom one, I can get the 35 in, but it's tight. So I'm gonna take it off again. And I'm just gonna tighten this bottom one up just a little more. 3 teeth more. Okay, 25. I can get the 25 in nicely. It's a little firm. The 35 is impossible. 25 on the top goes in, and 35 is impossible. So those brakes are adjusted perfectly. Okay, one last check, just make sure everything's good and nothing's out of place. Okay, so in here, these guys are retainer clips, right there. So those just need to be in line with the shoes, and they both are. So we can put the wheel back on here. Actually, you know what? While we go to the part, let's pry on this kingpin and see if there's movement. I don't know what that is. If that's supposed to have that much movement. Well, I don't know what the spec is. That might be worn out. I'm definitely going to grease them a lot and hope it goes through. Worst case scenario, at least I know about it now. The inside of this wheel is completely full of mud. So let's not to put this on with that there. That'll give you a good hop. Big wheel, big torque wrench. So these go to 500 foot-pounds. This torque wrench goes to 600, so we got lots of room. It's 500. I'm just checking the other side here, and the top one's a little bit out of adjustment, so we got to tighten it up just a little bit. So this one doesn't have the backing plate on it. I can actually reach in here. So anyways, I'm going to do the same thing. But yeah, you see how it's all exposed in here? So I can just reach in and do my thing. So I'll do that and get back to you. It's like really awkward. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, back brakes here. I'm gonna try to see with the camera. I don't know if it's gonna focus or not, but there's a tug test we gotta do on these, and hopefully we can have a look at some of the linings, but I see backing plates on all of these. Okay, well those are what they are. I'm not gonna do them before an inspection, I don't think. Where's my nipple? I got a hole. I don't have a nipple. I'm just looking at my suspension bushings here. This one's kind of worn out and blown out, and this one's just a little bit. But anyways, I noticed a part number on this. 69265WU, maybe an R at the front. Let's Google that. So I ran this part number and I found another one underneath. Both come up with absolutely nothing, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. But finish greasing this, I guess, and move on. And here we're at the back of the truck. Just get the S-cams. You only want to give those a few pumps because that goes right into your brakes. Oh, nipples loose on that guy. Okay, and then on the back side here, we can get more grease nipples on these pins. These are important because they're already worn out a little bit, so pump grease into them to keep them tight. This just helps what already's in there, right? Okay, this thing is lubricated, I think. There is actually one up in there. I don't know if I fit in here. I can't even reach into the hole. Nope. Well, now we know I don't fit in there, so that one's not getting greased. Okay, let's get some gauges in this truck. It does actually have a pyrometer. That's my exhaust temperature, but we've got this new one here. Autometer's good stuff, so we'll see what we need to do to install that. And I've got a turbo boost gauge to install. The truck doesn't have one currently, so I want one. I guess I'll just I can either put it down here. Let's see. Yeah, so I can. Here's my dash layout. My pyros go in here because it's already here. I'm just going to replace this gauge, I guess. The gauge doesn't work at all. And then this is actually my air filter gauge, but it doesn't work. So I'm thinking I'll just eliminate that, and then this gauge can be in its home, and that should be about the easiest. So I got my drill in here. Let's just take this dash apart and see where it leads us. Oh, this one's awful. I thought I was unscrewing it, but there's a washer on it. Cool. So here's what in behind looks like. Lots of room for me to put another gauge in here, so that's good. And then what we got to do is just run the wires down into the engine bay. And I've actually, if you look up over there, I can follow those wires and get power for these. So let's see what's inside these boxes. Okay, first I guess we'll look at the boost gauge. This is our hose that goes from the gauge to the manifold. Security seal, oh goody. Okay, it's secure. So here's our fittings it comes with, so we can adapt it into the truck's engine. So it's got an adapter and 1/4 inch, and this is what pinches onto the hose. Nice gauge. This just goes in behind and clamps it in the dash. Self-explanatory. I'll have to cut a hole in this so we can make it fit. And just some lights, so when you're driving at night you can see your gauge. That one's pretty straightforward. And the pyrometer should be the same thing. There'll be a thermocouple in here. So this gauge is a little bit smarter. It's got a little electronic plug so that it can tell you what temperature it actually is. This is the pyrometer probe. This goes into the exhaust. Yeah, this is the expensive piece. This gauge is over $250 usually, so this piece is well over $100 on its own. So you got to be careful with that. It's tough, but you don't want to wreck it. And just the wire to go from down below to up to the gauge. It comes with stickers, in case you don't know what it is. And this is the bung kit that it comes with. So what you normally do is drill a hole in the exhaust, and then the probe will go into this, and this gets clamped on, so on and so forth. My truck already has a probe in it, so I'm hoping that this probe's the same thread size and we can just swap them. So I found out why my filter minder never worked. The hose fell off it. It's got a light in it that's stuck in here. I don't know how to get it out. So I'll show you how this works. So this hose goes to the air filter box, and then this is supposed to show you restriction in the line. So the hose goes to the back. So we suck on it, and you see how this this yellow thing come all the way down. So when there's so much suction that starts moving, that's when you know you got to replace your air filter. I might actually find a new spot for this. Maybe we'll put it up top here, because I don't actually mind having that now that I know there's a hose in there for it. I didn't have the hose, so it was never used. Oh, maybe I won't even bother with it. You know, I probably won't install it. Dashes are never easy to work on. because there's so many wires and hoses going into them. You don't really have much room to play. Alrighty, that's it. Okay, pyro in place. Are you too good for your home? What's going on? You missed. That's why. Let's get some wires through the dash. So we got to put these wires through into the firewall, into the engine bay, and we've got to put our hose for the boost. Fight me. So to run the wires, we're going to go into the dash here, but you can already see daylight. Yeah, you can see the daylight back in there. So there's holes going through the dash with grommets already. I just got to feed the wires through there. So okay, so see if we can just. If we can just aim back there, that would be really cool. Come on. Have an awfully hard time getting it through the firewall. And here we are up on top, and look at that, the wire pulled right through, so that's cool. Okay, so that just needs to be long enough to go down over here. You see the probe down there on the exhaust, maybe? The stainless line going down. That's what we got to follow. Cool. We're going to do it similar way because that end has a wire on it. Now we're just going to get this through the same hole. Actually, you know what? Let's go through this top one. It's got a better grommet. Ow. Okay, let's not go through that one because it's just going to be incredibly difficult. And then if you look, this is my intake here. So this is where the pressure is, and there's bungs right here. There's 3 to choose from, 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to take that one right there, and that's where our pressure will go. Okay, back inside the truck, and here's our hose. We just need to pull enough through to reach the gauge. And that's probably lots. This end's really easy. You just take this guy here. Inside, you got to be careful when you pull these apart because inside there's a little brass, it's called a ferrule. So there's our little brass ferrule. You don't want to lose that. First of all, your cap goes on the line, then your ferrule. This is the hardest part, there we go. And then, see how that, I don't know if you can see, there's a concave section to this. So that'll squish the ferrule in between the nut, and it'll hold and clamp the line. And then we'll just tighten it up. What you want to make sure here is that you don't pull these apart before you tighten it. I suppose these are a wrench obviously too, but whatever. And if you use the right size wrench, it'll actually work better, but you don't need to go super tight with that. It's got to go a little more, but we'll grab a proper wrench and we'll torque that down, and it just screws onto the back of the gauge right here, and that's it for this end. So. Okay, on the outside here, just gonna get the dirt out of here because I don't want that falling in my intake. Get this plug off. It's tight. Been in there since new, I bet, so of course it's gonna be tight. Okay, there we go. That is our intake hole. Okay, so in our bag of goodies, that adapter that I showed you, that looks like it's the same size. If it is, we're having a good day. If it's not, we're not having a good day. We're having a good day, so let's get some thread tape on that and torque it up. We've got our Permatex thread sealant here. We're just going to put a little dab on the threads. and spread it around so it's not in the hole at least. And then our little adapter friend. Come on, left hand, you can do it. Okay, a little thread tape on this guy too. And that thread's in there. Oh, I hear someone. People have this incredibly bad habit of stopping by here without permission. I can't figure it out. Awesome. Okay, now we just got to I'll fit a little more of this in here just for extra, and then we just got to cut it and put it right there. Okay, again, just for the sake of leaving things a little extra long. Okay, now if you remember inside of this, you got to be very careful about that ferrule. So right there. Get on there, you. Cool. Now we can just put that and see how that slides in there. Now while I tighten that up, we're just going to keep downwards pressure on it. Okay, good enough. If you go too tight with those, it squishes the ferrule too much, and it kind of makes a mess, and it'll kink the line sideways and stuff. You just need snug. Okay, on this side, this is the exhaust probe here. So we're going to try to take that off. Oh, look at that, everything's spinning. I'm actually all right with that, just because we are replacing the whole thing. But it would be nice to get maybe that off separately. You off there yet? So that is why my pyro doesn't work. Wow, that's really tight all of a sudden. I really don't want that to break off in here. I just don't want to damage my exhaust pipe at all, because these parts aren't cheap and they're very hard to come by. If you're dealing with stuff that might break and might get stuck, it's better to use an impact, because it'll actually break up the rust and crust inside. There. See how that all came out kind of gross and dirty? I would have fought that all the way with the ratchet. The threads aren't that on that aren't wonderful. Let's see if I have a tap. Okay, we got this 1/4 inch NPT pipe thread. NPT is National Pipe Thread, for those wondering. Oh, that's dumb. My thing doesn't fit in the thing. Okay, so a 3/8 ratchet it is. Well, all that effort of making the hole nice, and what I didn't realize is that my adapter doesn't fit in it. So that was a spectacular waste of time. So the probe actually fits the old adapter, so I guess we're all right. Now, because this is very high heat, There's no point in putting Teflon tape on this. It is what it is. Oh, yeah, the threads aren't all that happy on this guy, huh? They've got this bung in here pretty deep, and it's on an angle. I don't know if I'm going to be able to drill it. Okay, well, I've made an executive decision here. I'm just going to weld this hole shut, and we're going to start fresh with a new hole. Now, I want it in a spot that I can actually weld all sides. I should be able to weld it here. Is that what I want to do for sure? No. All right, now I don't have a choice. There's a hole in it. Okay. It wants a 9/16 hole, and I only have a 1/2 inch drill bit, so because it wants that to fall in the hole, but that's fine. Cool. Can you see that? There. So that bung fits right down flush now, so I can. Yeah, look at that. I can weld that on confidently, so that's cool. I don't want to ground it to that clamp. Oh, look at my tip. That's so gross. That's awful. Clean that up. I think I mentioned that I need to get some new tips for this thing. Yeah, I meant it. Probably worth grabbing a new nozzle or two as well. Alrighty, let's So here's the weld-on bung. I'm just going to hold it up there in place and tack it in. Okay, it's a little bit cold. I don't want to weld it too hot and melt the pipe, so I'm just going to be careful, but that should be all right. Okay, I don't normally like welding like that, tack, 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 but for something like this, where I don't want to burn through, that's what we're going to do. Okay, we can go ahead and tighten that up. Oops. Drop my expensive thermocouple on the ground, eh? Now, because there's no thread tape on that, I've gone excessively tight. It's never going to move. And the probe is installed, so now all we have to do is see my wires here. We just got to connect these guys and power it up inside. So those are some small screws. And there we have it. Oh, wired up. I'm just going to zap strap that in place so that it can't fall on the exhaust and burn through. There we go. Okay, back inside the truck. We just need to wire these gauges up. This one's easy. It obviously plugs into the back of the gauge, but there's a couple of wires hanging off it. One power, one ground, so the gauge can come on. So we gotta find a home for these guys. Stay. I knocked a connector off there. Okay, you get out of my way. These gauges look nice in there. I like that black. I'm not going to do the rest of them. Okay, we've got our hose over to our gauge. Oh, I gotta take those apart, don't I? We just gotta thread our guy onto the back of the gauge, and then the hose threads onto that. I guess we could put some thread tape on there. That would be smart. Give myself a boost leak up here. That would be funny. Just enough on the threads to make a difference is all you need. There, even that tiny little amount, I bet it's enough. One thing I didn't bring is a 1/2 inch wrench, apparently. Oh, it must be tight enough when the gauge is turning. There we go. This one just plugs in like that. And then, like I said, we just need to find power and ground for these two wires. Now, these were from the old gauge, so we're going to test those, because if there's power and ground there, that saves me messing around trying to find it. I'll just wire them right to these. So we got our voltmeter set to the 20 range, since we're looking over 2 volts. So we're going to go red to red, black to black, if I can hold everything one-handed. Now key on. 12 volts with the key on, so that's going to be our power source. Let's see if I've got something to slide into those connectors. That would be so cool. So I've got these. Nope. First of all, we don't need 40 feet of wire on here. If I just do one at a time, it doesn't matter, right? Because the other lights are going to get wired into the light switch, so just going to snippy snip. And I've got a whole box of connectors somewhere. I couldn't find them. It appears I need them. I bought these a long time ago, and you know what? They work well. They were cheap too. I'll show you how they work here. That whole pack of them was like 20 bucks. You take your stripped wire and you slide your connector over it. All the way. And then you connect your 2 wires together. And then once that's together, you just slide this guy, try not to grab any wires. You slide the connector over the connection you just made. You make sure the solder, that little piece of metal in the middle, that's solder. And then you just hit it with a heat gun. It does take a bit of heat. It does take a while for that center solder section to melt. But that's what you want to wait for. You're not going to damage anything. It's just going to get hot in your hand. So there you can see the solder's finally melted. It's all deformed. We can go to the edges. There, and you've got a completely watertight connection. I should have actually been using these outside. I didn't even think of these. It's okay when it happens again. I'll redo it with them outside. Okay, so same with the ground. Gonna slide our connector on. Put the connectors together. Start. You just need the wires together. It doesn't matter if they're twisted or anything. The solder does a good job of making the connection for you. And then same thing, just hit it with the solder, or hit it with the heat gun. And there goes the solder. I just seen it flow. Now we can melt the edges. That's power and ground on the pyro. The pyro's plugged in. My gauges, in theory, should work now. We've got to install the lights still, but let's have a look. Key on. Yep. See it move? That tells me it's working. So let's you know what, let's start it up and see if that pyro actually works. Yep. Did it jump up? Cool, that looks like it's working normally. It's slowly coming up. At idle, I expect to see 200-300 degrees there maybe. With that compressor nice and freshed up, we got a lot of air a lot faster. Yeah, just like that, the buzzer's off and we're building air. And the pyro's come up 150, so that's working. That's for sure working. That's awesome. The boost gauge won't move until I get driving down the road. I don't have insurance on this right now, so I'll have to show you later that it works. Okay, so now all I got to do is find the wires to plug in. Oops. To plug into the lights. So what I'm looking for, here's a junction for them. I wonder if this is also a junction for them. Probably not. That wouldn't be that lucky, would it? Okay, well I know that these are what I want. What is this? That's the color we're looking for. That's our lights. So if I'm a betting man, one of those is going to be positive, one of those is going to be ground. So let's find out. I'm assuming power and ground. And headlights on for the dash lights. Cool. Okay. Turn it up all the way, I got 9 volts. Turn it down all the way, I got none. So that'll be our dimmer switch. Cool. Was that the right way? Ground and power. See how it says 9.92 volts? So if you want to see which way the power is going, I've got blue and black. Let's switch these. Now it'll say negative when it makes connection. There it goes. Negative 9 volts. So that you know that these are backwards. That makes a lot of makes a lot of things a lot more simple if you're needing to know which way your electricity's going. These lights are going to work either way, so it won't matter. So I'll show you that. Okay, so if we put the white wire to ground, or to power, sorry. So the white wire is power, black wire is to ground. See how it lights up? Now if we switch these, white wire to ground, and black wire to power, see it still lights up. So these are omnidirectional, they don't matter. If you are wiring in an LED, a light emitting diode, those will only flow electricity one way, so that would matter. Doesn't matter for me in this case, so we're good to go. And it would be really cool if I didn't have to massacre this plug to make these work. Cool, look at that. They're not brand loyal. And I bet I can slide this one in here. Oh, I'll just pinch that just a hair. Okay, so all we are going to do here is amalgamate these two, just to make everything nice and simple. Okay, let's just plug these in, and we have lights. If I squish this just a little, it'll stay in there. And then all I got to do is put these in their bulbs, in their places. Little push and twist. Oh no, that fell out. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, I guess we're redoing this one. Let's make these wires longer. The camera died. I did this to the black side. There we go. That won't fall out now. I don't understand why those aren't locking in. Because I'm not being mean enough to them, that's why. Those take some pressure, wow. There we go. Anger twist. Let's make sure all my bulbs are working while I'm in here. Awesome, all my dash lights are working on this side. So I think we're ready to put the dash back together. All of these wires are just gonna float in here with the rest of them, and it is what it is. There are gauges installed. Let's give this one power again. Boom. Yep. Okay, let's let it cycle. And look at that, we have actual exhaust temperature. So everything's working. Wonderful. Okay, one more thing to check on these things is brake adjustment. This has manual slack adjusters, so this is your slack adjuster. And what you want is you want to put a bar in here and you want to pry on it. And what you're looking for is distance between here, movement. So you see how it's only got so much movement before it stops. Inside here, the brakes are actually going to be touching. That one's almost good. Ow. So what we want is between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch. This one's got a little bit much, but there's a collar right here. So this is a 9/16. There's a collar here you usually have to push in, and then that'll turn. Now the good way to set them, so that should be all the way tight. Yeah, see how I can't pull it out at all? So inside here, there's a rotating piece that spreads the brakes. So right now, it's got the brakes on. So with that there, now I can't remember if it's all the way tightened back half a turn or 3/4 of a turn. So, oops. So let's go back to there. I'm gonna make sure that lock and collar pops out, but let's measure that and see where we are. So that was a 1/4 turn. That's more what I want. So that's what we're gonna do all. Yeah, that one's way out. Nice that there's grease all over this. Okay, same thing, we're gonna tighten them up. It should give us tight brakes. Back them off. 1/4 turn. Beauty. These ones were way out. Because these ones are upside down, they might actually be backwards. Yeah, these ones are backwards. Newer style trucks have what they call automatic slacks or auto slacks. And those are a little bit nicer because you almost never have to adjust them. But what's not nice about them is they're very expensive. When these fail, they're in stock in town and they cost me like $50 a piece. When auto slacks fail, they're like $2.50 a piece. These ones you can always crawl underneath. You can always crawl underneath and make sure they're working. So there we've got our brakes tight, so I shouldn't be able to pry it at all, which is correct. Now if we go in 1/4 of a turn. Yeah, and that side. We're gonna assume that this is the same being upside down. Well, there it's tight. And, oops. I don't like slipping off because I don't know exactly where my 1/4 turn is. It does matter. About there. And same thing, it pops out. Okay, here's a good will it run video. This hasn't run since last year. It's got a Cummins 8.3 ISC. It's a 2004 Sterling. Yeah, it's sat all winter. The batteries are bone dry. I've got my trusty Boost Pro with me. Wow, look how warm it is today. The snow's just disintegrating under my feet. I love it. So this will be a pretty good test for this Boost Pro also. This is a full-size semi-dump truck with a medium-size engine in it. It's not the biggest engine by any means. It's just a little bigger than our 12 valve and 24 valve friends. So look at that, no power at all. It usually comes on automatically. Yeah, it's giving me the we're not in good shape mode. Okay, so what you gotta do, unhook it, it turns on, press and hold, and that turns it in send it mode. Now we hook that up. Now that's got full voltage right to the batteries. It doesn't have a choice now but to have all the power. A little messy in here, but we'll see if she starts. We're gonna give the fuel pump a little bit. It's got a fast, you can hear it buzzing, it's got a fast pump on it, so let's see what we got. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Give it one more try, maybe. If it doesn't have enough volts, it won't start. It's pretty grumpy. No way. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, guys. battery's charging, 13.4 or 14.4. Let's see if it stays running. Yep. Woo, those are warm. Wow. I'm not usually one to brag about a product. I'll be honest with you. I've had this since the beginning of winter, anyways. It lasted me all winter, and all winter it impressed me. It's been in a few videos, but I just wanted to talk about it for a second because it just started that. And my Volvo over here, it started that in the middle of winter. It started that below at like -10. So, tell you what, this thing is worth every penny I paid. It's absolutely unbelievable what it will start. So this is how it charges. It's just a little USB micro cable. My only single complaint with this thing, my only complaint, is that it dies so fast. Well, let's not say fast. Once it dies, it takes forever to charge. It does last a good amount of time, but this is now going to charge for probably 25 hours before it's charged back up. Here's another tool that's proven itself to me time and time again. This is a rigid tire inflator. It's awesome. 18 volt, I think it is. Yeah, 18 volt, 5 amp hour battery in this one. It's also, if you take the battery out, it's also got a plug right here. And that plug will plug into a 12 volt lighter so you can inflate your tire. Anyways, look at this. So, although this tire is only flat on the bottom, I'm going to fill it up before I move it. Well, that's good enough for now. That'll let me move the truck. Oh yeah, she's warm. I couldn't do it without it. So I don't have a hose that reaches this long. And you know what? You don't need it to air you right up, because even that would get you down the highway long enough to get you to tire shop, or at least back into cell service. So what we're doing here, these tires have a whole lot more tread than mine. Mine are pretty flat. So we're gonna swap these over. Also, another reason, if you look at my my studs here, see how they don't come out? They don't stick out of the nut at all like these do. That's it's not a big concern, but some DOT officers will care about that, and I really don't want hassle. The thing's loud, but yeah. So we're gonna swap these over, and that'll be it. This dump truck's not getting used anymore. It was my dad's. So okay, big hose. And big gun. This thing's awesome. I don't know what torque it is, but it's insane. Okay, in these air tools, you want to put a little bit of air tool oil in these every once in a while. Doesn't have to be a lot. Keeps all the seals lubricated. Hi guys. It's getting springtime out here. They're getting happy and fluffy. Oh, did this crap out? There we go. Weird. Oh, let's see if the Napa Jack's got it. good enough. Is it dropping? Yeah. You gotta make sure when you're using these things, they're so big and aggressive. If you just pop this hose off, pulling that end off is quite mean, so gotta run your throttle down with the hose off. And now everything comes apart nice and easy. See, no fight. Okay, so we went and got insurance papers for it, so these are just good so I can get to the shop. It's just a permit. Anyways, let's get them glued into the window and take Louise here for a drive. Make sure she's alright to go for inspection. Alright, that's all it takes to be legal. Now we can take her for a drive. My wiper's back down. Okay, let's see how she does here. So. Gauge isn't working properly. It's only coming up to like 200 or 300 degrees when I'm on the throttle, and it should be up around 600, 700, 800. So what's going on there is just simply a ground issue. The wire I went to obviously isn't a sufficient ground, so we'll go run that to a better ground and try it again. I'm waiting for my ride to be ready to bring me to the inspection facility anyways, so we've got time to play. Other than my gauge though, I think it passes my drive test. I don't have any weird things going on and it feels good, so. Brakes feel better. So yeah, here again, it should be up around 400 or 500 degrees. So let's get that fixed right away here. So I got the ground wire exposed. I'm just gonna take this blue wire and run it straight to a proper ground. I just want to see if the gauge is gonna work with a good ground on it. Oh yeah. Yep. Okay, look what happens to the gauge when I touch it to ground. See how it comes way up? So that's really common with these gauges. If they don't have an awesome ground, they won't work properly. So it's really important if yours isn't working, just run a second ground. You don't even need to cut the wire, just splice into it like this and you'll be fine. So I'm gonna go find a good ground for this and we'll be back. Okay, so we're just gonna make this wire really long. And then we can take it and wrap it around here. That's down below. We can put the dash back together because that's not going to be affected once it's hooked up. As for ground location, looks like we got stuff going up here, so this might be a good spot, which would be fine. Let's turn the key on. Let's just see if the gauge responds to this. It does. So you see that? See how it's jumping up? That's me on the ground. That's me off the ground, on the ground, off the ground. It worked the same as down here. Oh, look at that. Almost a 300 ground down here. Oh. See, that's why you want a good ground. Like, I've got a good ground here. That's where other stuff's grounded, but the gauge isn't responding. If I put it here to that, it comes up over 200. So that's what I need. There's probably no better grounds up here either. These gauges are so sensitive. That'll be power, that'll be power. There probably isn't ground right here. What about outside? It's kind of working. Up to 210 or so. Still not a good enough ground. Unbelievable. Okay, I think we're just gonna drill a hole right through here with this self-tapping bit. Nothing in behind there that I can see. See if it screws in without touching anything. Yep, okay, now let's touch our wire to the thing. Okay, now we can take this. So we've got this and this we're gonna put together. See the wire sticking out? We're just gonna crimp that down. Now we can take our screw, our drill, into our new hole. Now note where the gauge is now. Know where the gauge is now, so that should be perfect. Okay, on the road again. See if we can't get this thing down in for inspection. Bouncing around though, that means my ground's not good enough. At least I know where the problem is. Okay, we buzzed back home quick. I got the wheels torqued. I ground that gauge wire again to give it good continuity. Hopefully it fixed it. I don't think it did. Because it's around 150 and I expected more than that. But we'll see when we get going down the road, I guess. On the road again. So that still didn't fix that. Oh no, because it was getting power. But